T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Honey Badger 3D Print and Paint. Today, is it a unicorn? Is it a horse with a dildo on its head? We don't know until we open the box.
I know what way I'm going before we open the box.
So, okay. So before we start, let's do a little bit of story time, right? So Tevo, the original brand, died about, I think it was about three, maybe 4 years ago. They had a serious issue where a member of staff, a high-ranking member of staff, had embezzled and gambled a large amount of their money, right?
And lost it.
After that, Tevo was no longer able to pay its suppliers. They went into liquidation. They closed down. There's been a huge resurgence and sort of cult community about keeping the Tevos going, keeping the tornadoes and the tarantulas going, spare parts coming up, clone parts and things like that, trying to keep those old machines running. 3D Makers Hub, someone who watches the channel quite a lot, he actually has a Tevo Tornado and he loves it. It's one of his best machines, and they were workhorses. Unlike with Creality created a community where people really did sort of engage and they helped each other and things like that. Tevo's community was a little different, unfortunately. Tevo's community was a little bit more toxic and they got a bit more snippy with people. It sort of disenfranchised people to the brand. Enter 2 years ago, Tevo rebranded itself and relaunched as Homer. We did the Homer Odysseus, which was the Tevo Tarantula. And during that review, what we found was that was an incredibly cheap and objectively badly made machine. We ended up giving it away on a live stream, and Matt German won it like he wins everything.
And he was other machines.
Yeah, and to the best of my knowledge, I do not think Matt has had a good print out of it since he received it. It's been a huge letdown. And I was really hoping that they were going to do some things to try and upgrade it. The Homer Odysseus Pro came along. We didn't get the Pro. And then once again, exactly the same thing happened again. A member of the senior team. Hi, Cleo Mods. So the member of the senior leadership team embezzled a bunch of money, went off gambling. Homer closed its doors. Now we're at TevoUp, a relaunch of the relaunch. They have stuck with the second naming convention, but kept the original brand name. Okay. And make no mistake, this is Tevo. However, I have been assured that this time they won't let anybody embezzle and gamble a bunch of money.
They did say that to us last time, though, as well, didn't they?
They did say that to us last time, but this time they pinky swore, so we know it's good. So this is the TevoUp Hydra. The TevoUp Hydra is a CR10 style of Cartesian printer. Now, there's a lot of conflicting.
About 6 months, Paul, and it probably will be.
Yeah. So there's a lot of conflicting information about this machine. So there was a Hydra group that was created. It was created by Homer, and nobody on that group ever received their machine. This machine has been in development for the best part of 3 years. They have been taking deposits on it for 2 years. Now, I have been assured by TevoUp that everybody who bought the Homer has now been refunded or has been offered the opportunity to get one of the TevoUp Hydras. I have no way of verifying that. You now have to ask yourselves as a community, how many chances does a company get? I'm all for second chances, but we're on the third or fourth chance at this point. How many more opportunities do they get? And I don't know the answer, if I'm willfully honest. I don't know. I'm inclined to give them a shot, hence why we have the Hydra on here. But make your own decisions. So, not off to a great start when it comes to the level of conflicting information. Tell me more. Tell me about more, James. What's in the box? Here is the famous mic. So, right. So, if we go to the TevoUp website, it says in the title that the Hydra is a 305 by 305 by 400 millimeter 3D printer. If we go down to the description, it says that it is a 300 by 300 by 400. And if we go to the side of the box, it says it's a 310 by 310 by 400. So, honestly, it could be anything. There could be an Ender 3 in here for all I know. Let's open it up. The Hydra, aptly named because when you cut off its head to return on its place, hail Hydra, we have in here, in theory at least, a laser module. So it is to start with, it's obviously a regular 3D printer, and then you can take that tool head off and you can turn it into a laser printer.
With maybe some work to do, we're not sure because it doesn't really say.
Yeah. Nothing like a bit of consistency, Louise. I know. So the first thing that concerned me when I was on the website is in big red letters, it says, compared to the upgraded new version Hydra, the old version requires you to manually update the circuit board kits which are included in the package. There are only 300 old version kits left, and the production of those have been halted. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that many years ago, I pushed in front of a nun at Tesco's. And since then, I've had consistently poor luck. So I'm pretty sure through that butterfly effect of abuse, this is possibly not going to have the upgrade. It's going to have an upgrade board. I don't know. But let's find out. So what have we got here? So we've got the obligatory glasses so that you can look like Bono whilst you're doing your stuff.
Oh,
look at them.
They're nice.
They're nice. They're incredibly cold and they have immediately fogged up. So that's great.
You look a bit like Ray Mears.
Great. Oh, and they're adjustable. Cool. Right. You have you have 12 centimeters of filament. And let's take a look at what you get in the little bag. So, James, this is the TevoUp Hydra. So you get a filament sensor, you get 4 big bolts, you get some ribbon cables, spare wheels, spare nozzle, and a rubber thing. You get some bearings and some screws. It's interesting because it actually says on the website that fast assembly, you will have the printer up and running within 2 minutes of assembling with 4 screws.
Well, it doesn't bode well that they're giving you that many spare parts.
So this is the 4 screws. This, however, is not 4 screws. Okay, so we get a little TevoUp branded USB thumb drive, a glue stick for little people, in case you ever want to just glue down 1/3 of the bed, a tiny spanner, a nozzle unblocker, bunch of Allen keys, some zip
There's a lot in the little
ties.
pencil case.
You get a little pencil case. Unfortunately, they don't give you a little pencil, so Power cord. So the power cord they've given us is an American power cord, but that's fine because I have probably got spares. I have spares. I have spares. Right, let's have a look. Oh, you get a spatula. I'm really loving how precise the cutouts are for these because this appears to have been dug out by a golfer.
With a spoon.
It's more like Andy Dufresne was trying to burrow his way out of this
It should be hidden behind a Nursery Lane dress poster.
Yeah. We've got two thingies. We get a board of basically 2 sheets of paper. I'm assuming to test the laser. We get an assembly manual. So let's take a look at the assembly manual. The assembly manual. Okay. Yeah. Well, the insinuation is that it is literally 4 screws.
Well, it's a worry that there's that many spare parts that comes with it.
Well, it does insinuate that these are all literally spares, but that's an awful lot of spares.
It's like they're expecting it. They're preempting it by giving them to you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fine. So So first off, we have the laser module. Now, I don't know if you can see on the camera. Let's see if we can switch over. But this is the back of it. So this looks like the way that this actually attaches to the main machine is you literally swap it on, a bit like the new BitQ hot swap extruder. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a BitQ one. It's a new one. Someone will remember it. Someone in the comments. Right, this does have a little QC sticker on it. So laser module. Let's talk. Oh, Jesus Christ, that sticker doesn't come off, does it? Yeah. Oh, I broke it. There we go. Right, so that's the reason they have so many bits of share. Right, so the laser module. So we are not breaking the bank here, guys. This is a $99 upgrade, which, to be fair, is not a bad price for a laser module. The output is between 1.4 and 2.5 watts. So this is about half the wattage of, say, the Atom Stack A5 that we did, or a Sculpt Fun S9, or the Congro Z1. They're all about 5.5 watts, give or take. This one, obviously, does that just attach with magnets? Oh, okay. I kind of like that then. So this is the this is
blast
the
shield.
Yeah, this is the shield, and this just attaches with magnets. They should give you less and charge you for the bits you should have had. So that does actually attach with magnets. And what's quite interesting is, let me see if I can get on this. So this is the guard. Let's see if we can just get that in focus. So those in the know will realize that this goes on like this. And I don't know if you can see, but just in there's a little hole, which means that this has a built-in ability to take a hose for a air assist. So that's quite good. Hi, Alta Proxy. Right, so let's take a look at the tool head. So the tool head does have a BL touch in it. Let's get this on here. So this is the tool head. Quite nicely designed. We've got a clone BMG on the side with a V6 on the front. We also have in there, tucked away, although dangerously close to the heat block, we have a BL touch. So this does come with a BL touch as stock. And again, it's that quick release slide. So in theory, this just docks on and then pulls off. I don't know what the quick release looks like on this. It does say you should always keep the power off when you replace the module. So you're not hot swapping this, but to be fair, there'd never be a situation in which you would take off your you know, you take off your laser and put your 3D printer tool head on, you know, mid-print or something. So that would never happen. So that's quite nice. It's got what looks like a 4010 part cooling fan in the side, and it's got an okay designed duct. Nothing special, but looks like it's going to work. Let's get the A-frame out. Okay, so first impressions on that. If we can.
Well, it immediately looks more sturdy than the.
So this reminds me a lot of an artillery sidewinder. So on the back, we have dual lead screws attached by a synchronization belt. On the front, we have 3020s, or 4020s even. Yeah, 4020s going up the sides, and a big chunky X-beam. Inductive sensors, not physical limit switches. I don't you've met Carl Fenton, right? You know a hot swap. Yeah, that's very true. Looks pretty solid. Still V-slot wheels. Everything else is still pretty traditional. I think what's interesting, and I'm not sure how this is going to work, is there is no, well, unless there is something on the bed, which we'll look at in a second, there is no Z-stop, which you would think is fine because this has a BL touch on it. But this does not have a BL touch on it. So how does this home? Or do you have to manually set? We'll get to that bit soon. But just going to pop this down the floor for a minute so that I can get the rest of it out and more than likely kick that at some point. The packaging in this is actually really good. They've done a really good job packaging it. So I do not see any Z-stop on there. And just to check to make sure it's not in one of my, no. Okay. So it looks like it uses the BL touch, and maybe when you put it into late, oh, that sounded something sounds a little rattly in there. Right. Oh, wheel. Interesting that it's still got proper bed leveling wheels. Right, let's get the box out of the way. And let's just get that bed leveling knob back on. Manually level the bed, it's much faster. So I don't disagree with you. The problem with a lot of these, a lot of cheaper beds, is that, to be honest with you, they aren't level to start with anyway. So I always hate trying to get these knobs back on. Come on. There we go. Right. So let's take a little look at her. She looks nice. So I don't normally do this, but before we assemble it, I am taking a look inside. There's a reason for that, and that's because this is an AC heated bed. Now, there's plenty of companies that are doing AC heated beds, and that in and of itself isn't really a problem or a concern. However, hey, Derek, there's a reality that if it's done incorrectly, an AC heated bed can be a real problem real quick. So before I turn this on, I just want to open this up, and I just want to see how they've done it. They seem to have taken a lot of nods from artillery on this, in that this seems to be really quite a similar design and feature set to the Sidewinder X2, with the added benefit of having that hot swap tool head on the top there. Very interesting sort of like race car design almost. That's sort of like Lamborghini design, I guess. Who wants to take bet there's a bad grounding? Very possible. Very, very possible. Right. So first things first, let's unplug that. And let's take a look inside. Right, we've got nice juicy heat sinks. So let's take a look. Right, let's see whether or not I can get you guys a closer up of this. No, I think I'm going to have to angle this up so that you guys can see it. Oh, look. I finally found a use for the Weebooks.
Well, that's more work than it ever did when it was on the printer.
It's officially more useful than the day I put it on there. Right, guys. So what we've got up here is a MakerBase Robin Nano version 3. So actually a really good board. We've done a few really important things. So all of the 12-volt electronics are up here, and all the 240-volt are separated by this crossbeam. So that is actually really good and really clean. The ground is actually wired in, which is very good. What I do want to see is whether or not we have a switch on this. So this is an auto switching power supply. There is no need for me to, unless I'm being, no, it's an auto switching power supply. So there's no need for me to play about with anything. And we can see, don't know if you can see. Oh, no. This is going about as well as I expected it to, I suppose. All right, let's try that again. All right. No, you can't see. Fine. Well, right here, the case is actually grounded as well. So it's not just the power supply actually taking the ground, which on quite a few machines it doesn't. The case is actually grounded as well as the PSU. That's good. So that's something that the artillery got slammed for by Thomas Salandra. The grounding on the case wasn't there, and it didn't actually take a ground before. This does. Solid state relay is a. What are we? Yeah, it's a 32. So that's right. That's ticking a lot of boxes in my eyes, guys. That's ticking a lot of boxes. So really well laid out, really well thought out. And actually shows, you know, so no proprietary board for a start. That's a big one. That's huge. Because before, we had a lot of proprietary boards and they were all garbage. Tevo did not do a good job with their own boards, much like Creality hasn't done either. So let's plug this fan back in. I am pleasantly surprised by that interior, guys. I really didn't think that was gonna.
I thought it was actually going to be a rat's nest.
Yeah, so did I. So did I. Of course, saying that, trying to get this back in, sir. Oh, come on. Come on. There we go. Right. Okay, so nothing loose. All the screws are there. Before we do that, let's just check to see if connectors are ferruled. Yes, they are. 2209s. Yes, they are 2209s. Yes, they are 2209s. And yes, mine CTEC. All of the power are ferruled. So that's also pretty impressive as well. I did not expect to see that. That is
Well, that's a good start.
That's an amazing start for them, if I'm honest, because this has been through 2 rebrands.
Well, they've had like 3 years to get it right, so
Yes. So if I'm right in saying the Hydra has actually been in development for 4 years, you got to think of everything that's changed in 3D printing in 4 years. This hasn't just gone through iterations. This has gone through complete redesigns. So currently, this is on Tevo's website. Are you both in the same place? Sort of. We're both in Essex, but we're not in the same
country.
We're in the same country. We're in the same county. No, we're not.
Yeah, I'm in Essex.
So, of course, because you come in Romford, didn't you? Yeah, 4 years. Yeah. So again, it's not that the machine has been in constant development. It's more that Tevo
just
has
can't
been
afford
in
to release
constant
it.
development. Yeah, they've just not been in a position where they can actually release the thing. But as I say, that is an excellent start for them. An excellent start for them. I was not expecting the interior of that to look quite as good as it did, if I'm honest. So let's pop this on its side. Right.
It's super cold.
So this is using ribbon cables, just like the artillery is as well.
Is it the same sort of pushing and?
Hold on. It is the same sort of pushing. I'm just checking to make sure that. So there is no Z-stop. So we are just going to have to see. Oh, that's tight. There we go. Right.
I'll tell you what, it's super cold in my garage at the minute.
It's boiling here.
You can see my breath, look.
Turn your heater on.
It is on.
Oh.
And it's been on for about 6 hours.
Well, make it a life choices then.
And I've got all my printers turned on with just the heat beds on.
Right. 4 years, ain't that house burner special was still a thing then, wasn't it? What a difference 4 years has made. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm no fan of ANETs. I think it's probably, it's difficult because if you take a look at, say, the original Ultimakers or something like that were basically made out of balsa wood, there weren't that many great machines around at the time. And a lot of the safety features that we take for granted now, thermal runaway and, overcharge protection and, all the features in TMC drivers and all of that stuff, it's just what we take for this is the standard, right? This is how things should be. It just didn't exist. It's strange, really, to think how far it's all come. So whilst I'm doing this, guys, it would be really great if you could pop a sub to the channel if you haven't already. And I wanted to take a quick moment to have a chat with you about a competition that is being run by a new 3D printer company or 3D printing company in the UK. So if you take a look in the video description, you'll see there is the Facebook post, and it will take you through where to enter. But it's a company called Wedge 3D, and they're giving away a BIQ B1. So a really nice machine that they're giving away. All you got to do is you print a benchy, And when you print the benchy, you post over to them, showing that it's yours, and then they'll pick the best benchy, and then you could potentially win a Big QB1, which is a lovely little machine. One of the better Ender 3 clones out there, if I'm honest. As I say, in the video description, I'm 99% sure the design was bought from 3ED party, a third-party company, same as Creality and Voxel Labs. Do you know what? That wouldn't surprise me at all. This is a very well-designed machine for a company that historically hasn't designed machines particularly well, if I'm honest. There's a lot of, I mean, things like separating out the 240 volt from the 12 volt. You know, it's or the 24 volt, whatever this is. You know, it's stuff like that it does. It's not stuff that normal companies tend to think about. It's the kind of stuff that real engineers. Is Matt banned from it? No, Matt isn't banned from it, but he's only got G-Tech, so I'd bear with him about being able to print a good benchy. Right. Top is on. A couple of scuffs from the desk, but nothing too major. Right. As I said, this is very reminiscent of assembling the X2. So these parts go. Goes in there. That goes in there. That goes in there.
James Court, tell her to look on Etsy. Someone's probably selling a really good benchy in their Etsy store.
Right, let's pull this off. So again, flat ribbon cables. One second. Right, so the Z flat ribbon cables has actually got a nice lock on it, so that the cable doesn't come loose during printing. But the bottom of the Z doesn't.
There's a lot of this that's very similar to the X2.
Very, very similar, yeah. But I will be fair that everything on this is branded as TevoUp. So, you know, I've no specific reason to think that it isn't them. Oh, that must be the spool holder.
Yeah.
That must be what that is. So that must go up there like that. And that must be what the extra bolts and bearings are for.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rollers. So rollers to sit on.
It's rollers for the things. Right. Okay. So, moment of truth. There we go. And tool head fitted.
That's quick. Easy.
So, put me big for a second. So, the tool head, there we go. Literally, if you want to remove it, comes off. And the laser, hi Stephen, goes on. And then when you want to remove the laser, you take the laser off and you put the tool head on. Look at that.
That's good. I like that.
Oh, I like that. So the only caveat I'll make is I mean, it's quite heavy. So I don't think it's not jogging loose or anything like that, but it's not clipping into anything. It is push fittings and spring pins on the back here. So if you damaged any of these pins, you would have to change this whole tool head piece, which currently isn't on Tevo's website. So you would have to go to them for a spare for that. But literally, that's it. No movement. That's my table moving, not the actual Tevo. Needs a little bit of tightening on the eccentric nut over here. But other than that, there we go. Yep. Yep. Well, that is easy assembly. I mean, you can't argue with that. That is a very easy to assemble machine. As I say, I like the fact that this has got those little magnets. Would be nicer if they were just a little bit stronger. So sort of that's the guard, and the guard does come off. So it would probably be nice if that was if the magnets on that were a little bit stronger, but not bad. Odd choice for them to be horizontal rather than vertical. Do you mean the push pins? No, the push pins are vertical, going down.
I think you mean sliding the tool head on sideways.
Don't slide the tool head on sideways. You slide it on top to bottom.
No, instead of.
There we go. Top to bottom. Okay. Well, I would assume the reason why it's not can't order it proxy. This is the only one in existence. hey, look, man.
Will be true.
I have absolutely no evidence to the contrary. I want to be so clear about this, guys. We are reviewing the machine to see how capable it is. Tevo sent us this machine. We did not pay for it. So we're in a much better position than a lot of people who did pay for one and don't actually have it. They did not pay us in any way for a good review. Okay, if this is garbage, we will tell you.
To be fair, we were slighting it before we even got out of the box.
I didn't. I'm gonna be honest and say I didn't. It sounds ridiculous, but I didn't think there was going to be a printer in the box.
I was just going off the Odysseus. I thought if it's running along the same lines as that, it's going to be a garbage fire. But so far, I'm really impressed with it, to be honest. We've got to see what it prints like, yeah. But
the screen turns on. Move that back a little bit. Cool, that's heavy. Okay, well that's dim. Can you turn the screen up? Has it got Wi-Fi? Broke.
What screen's died?
I went into the Wi-Fi menu and I can't get out. Hold on. Let's just try restarting that.
The screen had died. I was like, it was going so well.
Try that again. All right, settings, config, level settings. All right, okay, so you can do your Z offset and everything. I mean, it's homing. It's not doing it quickly, I'll grant you, but it is homing. Probe works. Can't argue with that. Oh, okay. So this is literally set your Z offset, which we'll have to play about with in a bit. But if we go back, Back again. Filament settings, motor settings, leveling settings, languages. So UI switching. Right, okay. So there's a screen in here. This is better on YouTube instead of Facebook. So there's a screen in here. You go to your settings, and you go to UI switching, and then you switch between engraving and 3D printing.
So maybe we have got the newer one then.
So I mean, I haven't changed the board or anything, so we must have the newer one, which is brilliant. Yeah, tells you about what Marlin version it is. Do a quick fan test. Yeah. Fans all working. I mean, that, theoretically, is a working machine, isn't it? Jeebus. Select between it. You've got a full USB Type A and an SD card as well. It comes with a USB SD card reader, but it doesn't come with an SD card or a USB stick. So you can use either a USB or an SD card, but it doesn't give you either of those. It just gives you a USB SD card reader, and then you have to fill in the rest. So I've got a little USB stick there, which means we aren't going to have a pre-sliced model. You do also have the option to add a filament sensor. So there is a plug down here that would allow you to plug in your filament sensor up here. So the only thing I don't like about that, let me just push this forward a little bit. The only thing I don't like about that is this is a relatively loose wire, obviously. What I would have liked to have seen is I'd like to have seen them have this up the top of the gantry, and then they chase it down the length of this tube, so that you're not in the way of anything and everything's all out of the way. Like, there's no reason why I need to fit it. But that being said, that's a small thing. That's a very small thing. The lack of an SD card is irritating, I'll not lie, but it's fine. I'm just making sure that I'm not being ridiculous, but which is entirely possible. Not really one in the bag or anything, is there? Am I kind of weird?
Gave you a USB stick, didn't they?
No. So this. Oh, maybe it is actually. I thought at the top there was a. Is this actually a USB stick? Oh, okay. They've bought this from Artillery, or they've bought whoever. They've bought the same design. They must have done. Is that going to work? USB drive. So there's a test G code on there. There's Cura 4.12, which is not bad because we only currently. So I lied. It's not a USB. It's not an SD card reader. It's just a USB stick. Sorry. We're on Cura 4.13 as a beta version or a beta version. And they're including Cura 4.12. So that's pretty good. So I'll tell you what then. So with that in mind, we will. I'll tell you what. I'm even going to use their turdy little sample of filament. So we pop that in. USB drive. Yep. Thing is, it's downloading the latest version of Cura. Do you know what I mean? That's just everybody's going to do that, and anybody can do that. But it's nice that they include an updated version. And I think what's nicer is that they don't, or they haven't, tried to make their own stupid version of Cura. In fact, I'm going to install the. I'm just going to look this up to see how the hell this is supposed to go together. You gonna tell me how the spool holder goes on? Assembly. Yeah, assembly. No.
It's so cold in here at the minute. I just got up to go to the toilet and my knees completely weren't working. I was walking like Yosemite Sam.
Lovely. Hi, Mike. Right, so yeah, I'm just going to leave that off for now. All right, what we'll do is we will.
You just looked at that and thought that's more work than I want to do.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a lot more effort than I'm willing to put in. Right, so let's go back. Tools, preheat. Perfect. Preheat the bed as well. So they've gone for, unsurprisingly, a black and orange UI on this screen. I'm finding it a little difficult to see, if I'm honest, but it's working. So it's a BMG clone on the side of this. So you'll be able to do flexibles, TPUs, things like that at an okay speed. It's interesting as well because on the website it says that this is a volcano nozzle and it isn't. So that's also not true. You could definitely fit a volcano nozzle on here if you wanted to, but then I think that would mess with your BL Touch quite a bit. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. Right, let's take a look. Printing, USB drive, test 1. I've absolutely no idea what this test model is. So with this being an MKS screen, I've done something silly. I just bought a C2C A10S for £95 on eBay. Going to try and make the 45-degree print mill like the CR30. Oh, Mike, that's going to hurt. So hold on. So is the C2C A10 the Ender 3 clone or the CR10 clone? I can never remember with C2C. You turn knob lover. Okay, enjoy the UR. Oh, right. I'm assuming you're referring to the Ender 3 V2. It's a CR10 clone. Oh, okay. Yeah, you'll have to have a look. If you have a look at the Black Belt open source thing, then I would bet that you're more likely to get that extra filament out of there.
If you used mini
you're probably better off trying to do the Black Belt than you are the. Sorry, whoever said I'm here too. Facebook isn't pulling your name through, so let me just go and view the video. I'm here too. Oh, Ron's here. Oh, okay. Hi, Ron. Sorry, everyone. It doesn't pull through some of the names on Facebook. Okay, so baby step. So, okay, so let's stop that then. Yeah. Because clearly that's way too close to the bed. So I would say it's doing a calibration cube, but we are going to have to go into the settings and go through the bed leveling piece. Let's grab a piece of paper.
Are you going to use your tiny little glue stick?
I'm not going to use my tiny little glue stick, no. I think I triggered that with my paper. That's annoying. Hey, Ron. So I have to admit, so far, I'm impressed. Like, so far, I am impressed with the BMG extruder's nice. The wiring's laid out well. The way that tool head works and slips on, really, really good.
What is the price of this at the minute?
So right now, the Hydra is $569 US. So about 480.
You're talking
490 English pounds. So it's right priced at the Sidewinder X2. Now 569 only buys you the printer. It's an extra 99. It's an extra 99 for the extra laser. And I think there's a plan as well. They're developing a 2-in, 1-out multi extruder. Not an IDEX, but a 2-in, 1-out. Auto level. So let's have you do your thing. I will be the spool holder for the time being. My only concern is Tevo has failed twice. How long they last is Tevo up? Mike, you are preaching to the converted. So we already went through this at the beginning. Going to leave, but we'll watch later. Thanks, because cheers, man. So we'll go through what we went through at the beginning as well, just to cover it off. So TevoUp used to be originally was Homer. Why don't companies do the bed leveling sensors like FL Sun Delta or the clicky one, as it's super easy? Easy is a conceptive term. Like it's not that easy. Okay, so it just says ready to print confirm, but the screen's blank, so I'm going to reset it again. So that was an interesting auto level. Yeah, so the company started as Tevo. One of the managing directors gambled away all of their capital, and Tevo went under.
He wasn't a good gambler. He lost it.
He was bad at gambling. It wasn't just gambling; he was bad at it. Then after that, they became Homer. They rebooted the brand.
And what they failed to do, it's also a family-run business as well.
Yeah. It's all a family-run business. Yeah, Tevo. So what they didn't do when they rebooted Hydra, when they rebooted into Homer, was they didn't fire the person who gambled all the money the first time, which I'll admit was a mistake because
he did it again.
He did do it a second time. So I'll admit that isn't great.
Wasn't a great business decision.
It wasn't a great business model. It wasn't a great business idea. Generally speaking, whoever flushes everything you own down the toilet the first time, you normally don't then take that person to the next one. They did. It was an interesting move, bold. It didn't work out. He has got balls, very true. He has to carry them around in a wheelbarrow along with 3 of his fingers because they were cut off by the accuser.
Yeah. He's got some stones because he literally don't care about his own family. Just keeps robbing his own family of all their cash.
Yeah. So anyway, so that obviously wasn't ideal, and you wouldn't let them do it again. Well, they did, and again, it was a bold choice, Chuck. I'll see if it works out for him. It didn't. So TevoUp was born from the ashes, like the phoenix of the phoenix, and they are the same family who originally started Tevo, minus the person who gambles all their money away at various houses of ill repute. So hold on. Is this leveling now, or is this?
No, it's in China.
Sorry, 1 second. There we go. So yeah. So anyway, so Tevo's US based. No, they gamble all over the world, mate. So anyway, so they have rebooted as TevoUp. They released a bunch of press statements. The question you have to ask yourself is, how many times as a community do we give companies another chance? I think everybody deserves a second chance. They're now on their third. It comes down to you guys whether or not you want to take a degree of risk to support a company that originally designed, you know, the Tevo Tarantula and the Tevo Tornado, 2 machines that are cult classics that, had they have continued as a company, Tevo would now be rivaling Creality in size and technology. Enter the Hydra, because the Hydra again is genuinely a really nice machine. It's done very well. It's put together very well. It seems to be performing. You know, it's ticking a lot of boxes. There's just a reality that that it comes down to whether or not people are willing to take a chance on them, and that's only really a question that you guys can answer. It's not for me. I can tell you whether or not this prints well, which, you know, I'm just trying to put the print on now to see whether or not it'll do it. But it's down to you guys to decide whether or not you want to roll the dice, because at this point, all right, we've managed to get the Hydra. It's not a horse with a dildo on its head. It is the unicorn that you were all promised.
It's been the mythical printer.
Yeah. So, you know, so it is, this one is real. We have this one. But as was said earlier, this could be the only one. I haven't seen it anywhere else. So I can't tell you that you should order from TevoUp with 100% confidence. I can't tell you that. Apart from anything else, I didn't even order this. They sent us this machine. Now, it went through their website and all that nonsense, but still, they sent us this machine. They sent us the Homer Odysseus, and that worked for about 12 and a half minutes. Ultimately, guys, when it comes down to the risk,
the Odysseus is a very different printer, because the Odysseus was made to a price.
The Odysseus should never have been made.
No.
The Odysseus Pro was all right, but frankly, it wasn't great. The Tevo Tarantula was actually better.
It wasn't hard to be better than the Odysseus. So to release a Pro, there's very little there to do to improve. All
they did with the Pro was they changed out the. They gave it silent stepper drivers, and they gave it not in a kit, but I'm pretty sure Artillery nicked or bought the design off Homer Tarantula, as to do very similar. Hot ends look new. I'd probably challenge you on that one, Mike. So the reason why I don't think that's the case is this has a BMG on it with a V6. The Sidewinders and Artillery have a Titan and a Volcano. They have breakout boards. This is a hot swappable tool head.
And the tool heads are completely different as well.
I'll agree with you that from a frame design and from an X-axis design
and
from an inductive sensor and from a flat ribbon cable design.
And the wiring design underneath.
You know, and the wiring design underneath is actually, again, fairly similar. All right, Artillery have now got their own Ruby board. This is rocking a Robin Nano version 3. And even like the bed board and things like that. This is an AC heated bed. It's mounted directly to the glass. Oh, is it James Rook and Carl? What, is the Homer really bad? This one isn't. This Hydra is good. Well, I say that it's not printing yet, but once it does print, I assume it's going to be good. But yeah, the Odysseus, that was not good. Matt's not had a print out of it yet, and he can get a print out of a G-Tech, so you know it's like,
you know, he's used to crap.
You know he's used. You know, yeah, you know. What are we doing? It does. So the BL Touch is flashing like it's falsely triggered. Oh, the Homer Tarantula and the Homer Hornet. Yeah, they're bad. Yeah, you misunderstood me. If you look at the Homer Tarantula and the Homer Hornet, yeah, they're bad. I mean, the Homer Hydra never existed. It just didn't.
It was just a name that was coming.
Yeah, it was a machine that they had in development that they just never actually, or I don't think they ever actually got to a point where they had a functional machine for the Homer Hydra. I don't think that was ever coming. And again, the guy who was gambling away the money was gambling away all of their capital that they were trying to invest.
So the thing is, they could have had the printer ready to release, but they had no capital. They couldn't release the printer.
Yeah, I'm just trying at the moment, Alter Proxy. I'm just, I think the tool head was too close to the bed, so it was causing it to trigger when it was trying to pull up the BL Touch. I say fundamentally, this doesn't look very different from the Artillery. Not really. It's got a few sort of Lamborghini lines knocking about at the front and things like that. But fundamentally, it doesn't look fantastically different. It's flat ribbon cables. It's chunky extrusions. It's USB Type A. Base of the printer being shown kind of looks like an Atari Jaguar console from the 1990s. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. That's very similar. Yeah. It's got that sort of I don't know, that sort of retro arcade vibe, isn't it, going on? But yeah, say dual Z, and and it's got silent stepper drivers and touchscreen, and the UI looks good. And in theory, providing that it prints, it seems to be pretty good. It's got all the makings of a solid machine. I mean, we've got the X2 and we've got the X1. The X1 is my workhorse. Mike, I mean, you've been using the X2 way more than I did as part of the testing period that I had it for. So
well, it did a lot of the Chevy Impala, isn't it?
Yeah. So it does seem like the bed leveling sensor is failing, which is not good. So why would you be failing? Okay, let's move you up. Yeah, so the bed leveling sensor is failing, and that's causing a stop. How much are they asking for it? So currently, Ron, it's $569 US. And that just gets you this tool head. An extra $99 if you want the laser as well. So about $475, $490, something along those lines, yeah. It's worth noting that they haven't got a UK stockist at the moment. So you will be waiting for it to either ship from the US or ship from China if you buy it in the UK. They don't plan on stocking this in. They don't plan on stocking this in Amazon, as far as I'm aware. It's more than the artillery. Then I think it is, because I think you can pick up an X2 for $420 or $450 now. So this is more comparable to the X2 than it is to the X1, because it's got the bed leveling sensor and everything else. But yeah, let me see if we've got. No, none of those. What about a Homer? No. Okay, so what about if we just say an artillery? Oh, they don't have a profile for that either. Okay. So where would we get a Hydra? Just looking to see if somewhere on here we've got a Hydra profile. Because if not, I'm going to have to try and download. I reckon I don't trust my X1. A number of extruder boards burn on me. I've had a custom board by a guy called the Ethereal 3D Project, and you have to replace some of the connectors. I've seen that project. Is it built in on the USB? No. So on the USB, there was just there was a copy of Cura. So there was a copy of Cura 412. There was there's a Hydra PDF, which I'm assuming is just going to be the manual, which it is. Yeah, it's just the manual. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Yeah, after this, you should get the following screen. Now I want to set our printer to the Repetier host so it can connect. Interesting. Oh, okay. So it's just telling you to add in its own G code, which is interesting. So what's its G code? Oh. Okay, so in that case then, why don't we just add a Sidewinder? Oh. Hydra. Yeah. Right, so we want to then G28 and then a G29. Oh, where are we? Oh. Be nice if you copy and paste that rather than having to. All right. G28. G29.
Yeah, you could probably use the X2 profile because it's got a BL touch on it.
Yes, but there isn't an X2 profile as stock on the thing on Cura. And I don't have the X2 profile that we used because it's yours. I don't keep all your stuff just laying about my machine, cluttering it up.
Well, there's your first mistake.
No reason this couldn't have just been typed. Like, you could have made this copy and paste. This feels unnecessary. Feels like victimization at this point. G1. G1. Oh. G1. G92. E0, G1, F200, E3, G92, E0, M106, S255. Right, fine. Right, I'm going to set it to the size that it says on the box because I think it's that. But I mean, I've been wrong before. So let's just.
Thanks a lot, non-stick.
Let's just stick a calibration cube on here. Something nice and quick. What's the speed at? Yeah, fine. We'll leave all that as it is. Save to removable drive. So the cube was trying to print down in this front left-hand corner, which says to me, thank you very much, Nonstick, which says to me that that was actually a cube that was sliced for an Odysseus because that's the bed volume that we've been working with.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, it's fine. What I've done is I've stuck the X1 profile on there, and then I've just gone no, not dead air. Yeah, I've gone through. It does say that there is on the USB drive there is a copy of the manual. In the manual, maybe it has it in here as well. It has actually got. Yeah, they've written the settings in the smallest font humanly possible. Like, hold on. Yeah, in the smallest font possible, they've written the settings in there.
See you later, Ron.
See you later, Ron. Yeah, so we will now wait for this to heat up and see what it does. So if this doesn't, we're not going to test the laser tonight, guys. We'll save that for the review. As I said, this laser that it comes with is a 2.5 watt laser. So really, this is an engraving laser, and that's about it. We use light burn for our lasers. One thing that's good with this is because this is obviously a printer, not a laser, we will be able to write the light burn G code to the SD card and print it from the screen rather than having to be tethered. It's actually really annoying having to be tethered. I'm having to print everything with my laptop. My laptop's really old and bad. So I don't really want to carry on printing with that.
That sounds like Anna describing you.
Pardon?
That sounds like when Anna describes you.
Well, she's older than I am, so and she looks it as well.
I don't think she does. No.
You don't think she does?
No, you look worse.
No, you should see her right now. She looks savage.
All right, fair enough.
She looks like a boglin. That's what she looks like.
Ah, boglin. Yeah.
What, those little boglins from the cages? Doesn't watch this live stream. It's fine.
Which is funny because I've got Lauren in a cage at the minute.
And if either of our wives ever watch this live stream, there's a good chance we'd be dead in a spot. They'd hit us with a spade. But they don't. So, hooray, we can say whatever we like. So we'll just, this should, in theory, there we go, it's doing something. So this should now home and do its bed level stuff. In its own time. So if this doesn't work, guys, then we'll end the stream there. And
you'll get out,
and we'll see how we get on. We'll have a conversation with Tevo and just see whether or not we need to reflash the firmware or something like that. Like it's it's one of those things. So let's see if this works. In your own time. So I'll say this, the artillery homes way quicker. Be right back. Little boy has woken up. Bad dreams again. Oh, yes. So it looks like we
Must have
just
been
had...
dodgy G code on that.
It was just the wrong G code. I'll say this, its probing speed ain't quick.
Neither's the artillery.
No, the artillery does go. The artillery is upsettingly fast.
No,
Like,
not when it's doing the probing.
No?
Granted, it's quicker than that because that's not doing anything. But
well, the good news is that's now stopped. Well, Smeg.
like the artillery is quicker than that.
Well, yeah, because this isn't doing it. It's basically what's happening there. Right. Never rains when it pours, does it? Let's take a look at the G code. Hold on. Let's also take a look at the settings to see whether or not... Am I supposed to have... Well, I meant to have done a mesh level beforehand or something. Oh, he's actually going to have to read the manual, isn't he? God, I hate reading manuals. Stupid. Leveling the build plate. Select tools. It does probe weirdly.
That is something Anna does so.
Like, I literally don't know what it's doing now, though. There's nothing on the screen.
The light's on permanently, which makes me think it's permanently activated.
No, so if there was an error, then it flashes. Because it's basically a BL touch on there. Or a 3D touch, sorry. Got all excited then. The G code was the old Odyssey, then it might be set up for the Odyssey in bed size. I hope that's not the case. Nothing on the screen. Okay, let's try this again. So, what could be making it do that? Could it literally be... Tool, auto level. I feel like this might need a firmware flash because when you click auto level, the screen just goes black. It's probing in the right place. So the firmware is set correctly for the bed size because it's probing in the middle. It's doing safe homing. But there you go, look. So when that flashes, that means that the probe was still triggered after it tried to move away. I think it's that it's not moving quick enough. And the probe is redeploying. Oh, no, hold on. Hold the phone.
What's it asking you to do the Z offset?
Yeah, but it wasn't asking me to do that before, so it is doing. Okay, so I've saved that. Well, this is compelling television, isn't it, chaps? Oh, I've taken the USB stick out. All right, let's try this again. Right, well, we'll try one more time, and if it still doesn't play ball, then we shall end the stream there, and we'll reach out to Tevo and see if we can get a firmware flash, because it feels like it's better than watching good old Bojo lie through his teeth. I mean, to be fair, he isn't lying; he just doesn't care. He's just wildly unbothered by the whole situation.
I'd say that was really entertaining.
Yeah. It's quite interesting watching a man of that age squirm that much.
But even so, when he gets questioned, then he just starts laughing in between.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even care because you're just laughing.
Yeah. He is passionately unbothered by it. And I don't know if we're really that much better off. I mean, hypothetically, if he was to go and we get Rishi Sunak instead, I don't know that we're that much better off as a result. But
a billionaire.
We shall avoid becoming a political live stream because that'll get us banned or demonetized or black bagged.
I'd love it if the SAS just stormed through the curtain and black bagged you and dragged you out.
Well, they'd trip over a bunch of stuff, so I'd have time to get out.
Nah, they'd just be really stampy all over it.
They'd slip on all the screws that are on the floor. I've laid them down like marbles when
Home Alone.
Like Home Alone. Anyone ever breaks in here, they're liable to sue me afterwards. All right, almost up to temperature. I have to say that with a BMG extruder and a V6, it would have been nice to have seen a volcano on here. I do feel like the print speed is going to suffer from not having the melt zone. Looks like we should have a Jeremy Clarkson for Prime Minister. Why not? I mean, farming would not do well as a result. But yeah, I mean, he's not good.
I think now you'd probably find there'd be more money going into farming.
Maybe, yeah. Have to pay £45 for an ear of corn. Every farmer driving around in a Lambo. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't. At this point, I think we should just go back to a monarchy, to be honest. Just be done with it. Stop having the illusion of democracy. Stop having the illusion that we've got the say, and just start worshipping inbred people. Like I just think we should. I just don't think we should bother.
Just be ruled.
What's the point?
Be told what to do.
Yeah, it's easy. Just stop pretending. Stop pretending that we've got a democracy. Stop pretending that our voice matters. Oh God, you don't want me for a PM. Oh, I'd get drunk with power so quickly.
There would be such terrible decisions made.
You say so, no more Prince Andrew, but like anybody else is any better.
Well, I think I'm better than him. Like he's a raging pedo.
No, but like all like so many members of Parliament that have been convicted of similar things. Like homing failed, printer halted, please reset. Right, okay, it's not going to work. Oh, I was doing so well, sort of. I mean, it went together nicely. That was good.
And it looked good.
It does look good. Oh, cool. And if you get filament stuck in it, it just pulls right off. There we go. Right, okay. What we'll do, chaps, is we'll reach out to Tevo, and we will ask them for a copy of the firmware. We'll reflash it, and then what we'll do is we'll come back.
We'll probably find out that someone in Tevo has stolen the firmware and run off.
Yeah, auctioned it off. If I was PM, everyone would get a printer of their choice. I think that's a fantastic policy. Because that means Matt gets more printers, and I'm not voting for that.
He'd only want a cheap one, no?
He would only want a cheap one. Yeah, that's fair. Right. Okay, guys and dolls, thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget to check out the video description for how you enter the Benchy competition with Wedge 3D. So those guys they're a brand new 3D printing company, and they are selling printers and accessories and filament and all sorts of stuff. And they're doing a giveaway where they give away a BigQ B1. Please like and subscribe to the channel. We're getting really close to 5,000.
We've also got another live
we're doing a giveaway.
We've also got another live stream coming up.
Yes, we have. So we have a FL Sun Q5 that has turned up as well. So we will more than likely end up doing another live stream, probably Monday, maybe Sunday. I don't know yet. We'll figure that out. And we will show you that. And hopefully on that live stream, we might even have this printing by the side of it as well. I'll drop a message to Tevo and ask them for the firmware, and then we'll go from there. But thanks very much for joining us, guys. Thanks very much for sticking with us. If you do wish to go and buy your own Hydra without seeing it working at all, then the link is in the video description as well, and that is entirely your own decision. And I'd highly recommend that you have a word with your own personal Savior, Jesus Christ, before you make that purchase. See whether or not he's okay with you sort of throwing caution to the wind like that. But thank you very much for being there. Thank you very much for staying with us, and I'll speak to you guys soon.
Bye.